Next on Worcester News Tonight, a fatal fire in Northbridge takes the lives of 2 women. How the neighborhood is now coping with the loss. And a faster way to get to Boston. Details on the new addition coming to the MBTA. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. We begin tonight in the town of Barre, where firefighters are asking for the public's help in finding out more information about a suspicious fire over the weekend. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the details.
A reward is posted outside 127 James Street in Barre. Investigators are looking for information on how a fire at an abandoned apartment building started early Saturday morning. Fire Chief Joseph Rogowski says the building was abandoned for years, but there's evidence people may have been inside.
There was on the second floor, there was mattresses with some little candles and some empty cans in a box of Red Bull.
Rogowski says 2 firefighters were treated for minor injuries, fighting the 3-alarm fire. The building has historical significance, was once a tavern, and was said to be a stop on the Underground Railroad. It is now a total loss. The fire chief says this fire is suspicious because there was no electricity or other utilities feeding into the building.
There's nothing in the building to make it burn. So the only other explanation, there was somebody in there and set it on fire.
The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating along with Barre's police and fire departments. The reward is $5,000 for information leading to a conviction.
If anybody calls, there's an arson hotline number on there, a 1-800 number. They don't have to deal with us. They can deal with the State Fire Marshal's office. If anybody brings in any tips which leads to the conviction, they will recoup the $5,000 reward.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
In Northbridge, a fatal fire killed 2 women in their 20s. The neighborhood where they lived now joins 2 families mourning the loss. Our Brittany Schaefer has more.
I just want to come home. I want a phone call. I want Nicole to call me. That's all I want.
2 families overcome with grief after a weekend fire in Whitensville claims the lives of a young couple. Monday, a makeshift memorial sits in front of the Border Street duplex where 2 women in their 20s were killed in an early morning fire Saturday.
And everybody was running down here. I heard the screaming, the neighbors screaming, trying to get in there, but it was too late. It was too hot. And unfortunately, they never got out.
Neighbors identified the victims as Nicole LaValle and Jordan Fontaine. Both were 22 years old. Firefighters say the duplex did not have fire alarms and the fire spread fast.
This went up very quickly. Within by 4:15, it was just the whole side of it went up.
It's terrible to look at. You can really just tell it was an inferno, and that's unbelievably tragic.
Neighbors and the community are now showing their support by leaving flowers and starting a fund in one of the victims' names. Nicole LaValle was a passionate guitar player. The family is asking for money to donate guitars to a youth center.
That's Nicole's dream, is for every child to be able to play a guitar.
The Valley Pub donated the cost of 4 guitars in the name of Nicole.
It's one way the neighborhood is trying to cope with the loss of 2 young women who will be missed.
I really hope that the family is comforted, by the fact that everybody here really did love their daughters, and when it comes down to it, we're all just going to be grieving for a while.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A new record holder in the city. As of May 13th, Worcester resident Goldie Michelson is the oldest person in the United States. The 113-year-old is also the oldest Jewish person in the world. She was born in Russia back in 1902 and came to the U.S. when she was just 2 years old. In a Clark University magazine article back in 2012, the 1936 graduate of the university credited walking 4 to 5 miles every morning, weather permitting, of course, for her remarkable health. Well, a custodian by day and a student by night, Michael Vaudreuil graduated from WPI on Saturday with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Our Patricia Nicholas has his story.
Michael Vaudreuil looks on as crews clean up after WPI's commencement. Vaudreuil received his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering on Saturday.
Sweet victory. It was sadness that my journey here was over.
Vaudreuil was not your typical student. He worked full-time as a custodian at the university. Studying around his work schedule, it took Vaudreuil 8 years to attain his degree. He says his interest in the subject matter made him work hard towards finishing.
I found the things very fascinating. So that really provided great energy where otherwise I would be very tired.
Vaudreuil did own a business, but he had to shut it down after a recession. It brought him the job at WPI, which allowed him to take university classes at a discounted price. He says he started classes to distract him.
Because of all the previous failures of my life, I was dialed in and laser focused, and with my wife's encouragement and support over the years, we saw it through, and here we are with the degree in hand.
Vaudreuil says he's looking forward to landing his first job in his new field. His journey may serve as an example for other non-traditional students.
Get clear on what your why is, why you're doing this. Get clear on it, focus, and stay at it. And always remember your why.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester News Tonight.
Gardner Police and Fire, along with Mass Environmental Police, make a unique rescue Monday morning. They found 2 bear cubs in a tree. Police say the cub's mother was killed after being electrocuted by a high-voltage wire. National Grid shut down power to the area so the cubs could be rescued. The cubs were checked by Mass Wildlife and are in good health. Police warn residents to stay always away if they are encountered by a bear and report the animal to Mass Environmental Police. Express train service from Worcester to Boston on the T is fast approaching. The new non-stop train service starts next week, and as our Andy Madison shows us, passengers say it's about time there was a faster way.
For some Worcester commuters, the train ride to Boston is a test of patience.
Over an hour, usually well over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, so pretty long commute.
You would think that since Boston is basically the cousin to New York, that we would adapt a lot of their traits when it comes to public transportation.
It can be a long wait between the 7:30 and 8:30 train at Union Station. Fortunately, the wait is almost over. Arriving next week, Worcester will have a non-stop express train. It will leave at 8 a.m. and get to Boston in less than an hour.
It'll be good to have express trains, definitely.
But that would be very convenient, yes. I would definitely take that.
Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito greeted commuters to make sure they're ready for next week.
Business community, students, people that want to get in and out of the capital city in less than an hour can now do that with the train service that will begin a week from today.
For years, the Worcester-Framingham line has been one of the most traveled lines in the MBTA. And the city has been working to get passengers to Boston faster. Whatever the reason people travel to Boston,
Planning on taking the city tour with one of the buses and maybe going up to the Prudential Tower.
Soon they'll be able to do it faster, which means Union Station could be more crowded in the coming months.
My hope is that it will be one that's very attractive to a lot of the commuters and students and people that just want to get in and out of Boston in under an hour.
Starting next week, the Worcester-Framingham line will have 2 daily express trains between Worcester and Boston, one in the morning and one at night. On Monday, the first one will leave here at 8 a.m., and that train is expected to be crowded. Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
A suspect is caught on camera in Worcester. Police say a 60-year-old man broke into several cars at a dealership, stealing things like car batteries and jewelry. The business was able to use their surveillance video footage to catch the suspect. Our Olivia Lemon spoke to the owners and has more.
It's sad. I mean, people don't even bother to come in the dark anymore. It happens, and it was clearly daylight. He was in no hurry.
Surveillance video shows a man stealing things out of cars at Mill Street Motors in Worcester.
We have a lot full of cars here. It doesn't mean that you can come and take pieces or things off them. These are our things, and they belong to us.
Owners Beth and Ed Proco say a customer picking up his car Friday morning noticed their stereo had been taken.
We have a video system here. We started looking at the camera and saw the person taking the radio, amongst other things.
The video shows a white SUV pulling up to help the suspect put items like jewelry, antifreeze, and a car battery into the vehicle.
Very nonchalant. Him and his accomplice were here for probably a good 15-20 minutes, just going through the cars, taking what they wanted.
Proco says their service manager quickly recognized the suspect as a previous customer.
I've known him for a long time, and it's very sad. I've known him for 30 years.
They called police, and 60-year-old David Latino was arrested. Police found the stolen items at his house. Latino was charged with larceny over $250 and breaking and entering into a motor vehicle.
I don't think it's right, obviously, and hopefully maybe they'll learn a lesson. I don't know if they will, probably not.
It is frustrating when you work hard and really try and do the right thing that someone would think it's okay.
And that was our Olivia Lemon reporting. Worcester police released surveillance video from an arrest last year. You may remember officers used a taser on the suspect, who they say was on a rampage inside a convenience store. That man later died. This footage was first released to the Telegram on Friday. The suspect, 38-year-old Wilmer Delgado Soba, is seen inside the Pennywise Market on May Street. Soba is seen throwing things throughout the store before police arrive and try to apprehend him. It appears he then attempts to evade and struggle with police before he is tased. Once arrested, Soba is seen being stretchered out of the store with an EMT performing compressions on him. Soba was taken to St. Vincent's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead about 15 hours